And once again, in the top right we have from Team Mouse Control, it's going to be the purple macho man NEEK.
Yep, and his opponent was showing us how easy it is to visualize. It is going to be the orange Zerg player Fmtc, who has done excellently in game number 2. And we were actually talking about their team in game number 1, and one of their teammates was saying in the chat, they're making fun of us. No, but it is it's a very good team. It's been recently formed, and they have done very good in the DSCL. So big props to them, giving them some airtime. And NEEK is going for the expansion.
Not only in DSCL, they are participating in a lot of team leagues and individual competitions as well. I mean, I have a feeling I have seen them in the Season 1 of SC2 Improved Team League, if I'm not mistaken. That was also nice to cast. And sometimes I see their guys in Go for SC2 Cups, Zotacs, so, you know, it's pretty good. Life's pretty good for these guys, but one thing always bothered me.
What?
What does FMTC stand for?
I have no idea. I hope
chat.
that
we call upon the powers of the holy chat. Will you please tell us? Will you divine us the meaning of FMTC abbreviation as the probe goes down inside the Zerg base?
Nope. I'm trying to think about what it could be, but I have no clue. So I hope someone does give us that answer. Maybe it's something in Dutch. Could be the case as well. It's a very safe opening from FMTC though. He's opening spawning pool first on Frost, which is I wouldn't have expected that. And it looks like NEEK is taking full advantage with the Nexus first. So it's gonna be a little bit of a slower opening, but he doesn't want to go for a gateway this time around, so he's gonna go for a force everything.
Yeah, it's a little bit risky to go for a gateway after a Nexus, and it only ever works pretty much if your opponent goes hatch first, and even then it should only work if your opponent does not realize what he's up against, because there are a couple of timings that you can exploit as a Zerg player. There's a certain period of time when the Protoss is vulnerable to early attacks.
Someone has been saying Fear-O-Matic for 10 times now. He's actually it's one of our regular viewers. Thank you so much, Bang, for that. I never connected the fact that they said Fear-O-Matic to
Wait, it's Fear-O-Matic or Fear-O-Matic?
Fear-O-Matic, I think.
Fear-O-Matic. Yes. Oh, alright.
I just, when I see that, I didn't really get the FMTC in that, but I assume that he once shortened his name because of a clan tag or something, because Fear-O-Matic is something that you could type out in StarCraft.
You definitely could.
The length, yeah. So.
Yeah, it's just my name is missing an E at the end for whatever reason.
Okay, wait, I'm starting to doubt, because now someone else says Fungal makes Darren cry, and I think that's a way better name.
Oh, that's so cool! That's so Wings of Liberty style.
Yep.
Congratulations on a very creative nickname, by the way. I really like it. Alright, so what the Protoss is doing right now here, we have a standard Forge opening, and we want to be keeping a close eye on what the Protoss is doing as of right now. Most notably, is he queuing up +1 weapons? Is he building a Robo? These are the primary indicators of what is likely to happen this game, as the Zerg player FMTC is queuing up his extractors. Well, pretty much the ball is in NEEK's court, because you can't let a Zerg run away with 3 bases just like this and do nothing about it. So either a timing or a pressure and take a 3rd base behind that. It looks like it's going to be a 4 gateway or a 3 gateway +1 attack, just as in game number 1, and it worked very well there. So there is no reason for it not to work this time.
Well, there's a few reasons for it not to work this time. The bases are easier to defend on this map. There's better creep spread, and FMTC is going to scout that it's going to happen a lot earlier on. So there's going to be 8 extra Zerglings being constructed above the 6 that he already has. He might lose the first one right there, though. He could also start moving their queens. Look at that. The bases are connected by creep, so he can move the queens between the bases. There's a lot more Zerglings, and I feel like with the surround on the Zealot, this is not going to go like game number 1 at all, Belde. He's gonna hold this very well.
Yeah, I think he is. The Mothership Core will be having trouble engaging those queens since the creep is so close. And you know, this came down to the timing of FMTC's unit production, because those units popped out before the first warping happened. And despite NEEK, look at the timer, it's 7:41. The first warping available was just a couple seconds ago, so this is hitting the Zerg player very fast, and in spite of all of that, NEEK already had the units to defend. Now he has to not make a mistake and not go back to droning, because if NEEK decides to keep warping in units, then eventually the Zealots are just going to overpower the Zerglings, and it looks like there is just enough roaches to defend this.
Yep, and on the flip side, he also scouted the fact that there is a third base coming. He also had an Overlord just fly over the entire base of NEEK, because he realized he didn't have any units back home. So FMTC does have a good indication of what's going on. He's moving straight across the map with all of the roaches, with all of the Zerglings. He's still making units, just units. No 3 first drones on the way, but just units for the longest time. And he wants to cancel that third base, and I feel like he could do that. There's only 2 sentries on the field.
Yeah, I think
it's not gonna work. It's not gonna work against his army that FMTC is going to flood over the map. The force fields are surprisingly good, actually, giving a lot of space for the Zealots to slash in. But the reinforcements will shut this down. Look at the HP. Zealots are going down rapidly, and he needs to cancel this straight away.
Yeah, I think he will have to. He will not even have enough energy for photon overcharge once that Nexus finishes, so he cannot rely on defense in that manner. Well, maybe he can. I mean, there are a couple more warpings of Stokers that are chasing this away, buying the Mothership Core some time. In the meantime, the proxy pylon has been taken out near the third base of the Zerg player. So, you know, FMTC, he wasn't successful in denying the third base, but at the same time...
He sent some of the units home to deny a proxy pylon. That's why, because if the Zerglings and the roaches that are coming in right now, if they would have just continued their path on the map, he would have definitely cancelled that base. But he turned around to deal with a proxy pylon, and now he's in a little bit of an awkward position.
Yeah, but you know, I think FMTC is still in a pretty decent position. He's got 66 drones to 32 probes, and the Protoss does not have any higher attack. He just his Twilight Council just now finished. NEEK is going once more into the Blink +2 composition here for his army, not adding on a robotic facility, not adding on Stargates or anything else. And just his first game, we have a Spire on the way. This time, though, FMTC in a much better position than his opponent.
Yeah, I mean, he's in a better position than his opponent, for one, and he's in a lot better position than he was in the first game as well. He's already been saving up gas for the longest time. So it's gonna be actually like 12 to 14 mutas, I feel like, coming out once the Spire finishes. So that's gonna be really good for him. And there's not that much responses from the Protoss player as yet, but this army could get a good snipe on those roaches.
Yeah, pretty much NEEK has to stay in the range of the photon cannon, and the Mothership Core is all out of energy, so, you know, he could try and go in and make something happen, FMTC, but I think he's just keeping his opponent's mind and fingers occupied and trying to disrupt him at every turn as much as he can. Because, you know, there's not really all that much that FMTC needs to do while he waits for the Spire to finish, which, by the way, just now did, and the first mutas are in production as we speak.
Yep, and he still has a lot of gas left. He's making 10 mutas right now, but he was actually supply blocked. Yeah, because he lost 2 Overlords scouting, so there's going to be more. So it's going to be around 20 Mutalisks out pretty soon after the second round, and 20 Mutalisks if you just hover over the bases. And he knows this, right? Because he has an Overseer there. He knows there's no defense whatsoever in the natural or in the main base.
Oh, these are the things I really like. Speaking of the bases, he just took the bases in the corners, and he does have a group of Lings ready to do run-bys whenever the Protoss army is out of position. I mean, this is FMTC, the way he's playing it right now is completely different from game number 1. He's learned his lesson, it looks like, and he's just going to abuse the size of the map. Also, it's way easier to play Muta on this map than it is on Polar Knight, so...
Alright, he is going to see the Pure Mutas on the map right now. One of them does get taken out by a good blink of the Stalkers, but look at the base right now at the natural expansion of the Protoss. He needs to get back there. He can't base race this. It's all game number 1 back over again, but I don't feel like he can start warping in a lot of Stalkers and get back ahead in this game this time around. So he has to start defending against this. It's gonna be very hard. The Zergling's actually doing a surprisingly good job against the Stalkers right there, and these Mutas have already killed a lot.
Yeah, they have. If we take a look at the unit counter, we have 19 Stalkers out on the map versus 26 Mutas with +1 on the way. I mean, if you have more Mutas out on the map than you have Stalkers, that's not good news. The only... well, not the only, but the main thing that NEEK has going for him right now is the +2 attack upgrade on those Stalkers and the amount of sentries that are going to protect those Stalkers from Zerglings. Speaking of which, they just now made their way into the 3rd base, and yeah, we have a base race scenario here once again.
Patrick, look on the map. Fmtc is already preparing for this because he's got a base on the top left-hand side and on the bottom right-hand side. He's not going to lose a base race this time around. He's like, okay, I know how I lost game number 1. It's not happening. I'm making hatcheries before you can kill them, and he's done exactly that. And right now he's just targeting the next side. He's gonna target all of the next side and then go home to defend. And he's still making Mutas, he's still making Spine Crawlers and Links. There's gonna be a lot for him, and he has enough bases on the map, so I feel like he has this in the pocket.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, it's going to take ages for NEEK to take out all those additional hatcheries. You know, at this point, NEEK is supply blocked. Fmtc does not know about that, however. If he did, then he could send all those Mulisks back home to try and defend and leave the Zerglings to clean up the buildings. NEEK has been rebuilding this game, so right now Fmtc knows exactly where the rest of the buildings are. Actually, he doesn't need to go to defend even, because all the buildings are so close together that all he has to do is just kill them off, and there's the GG from NEEK. Wow!